Ray Winstone was in the news recently because he talked about frustration that he had on the set of Black Widow, a Marvel comic book film in which he apparently had to come back and was asked to reshoot all the scenes that he was in. This opens up a broader discussion about him having a claim that comic book films are actually ruining quote-unquote film culture. So
getting cultural films made. That's what he says.
I mean,
I wonder what he means by that.
I don't know. That's how I saw it. That's how I interpreted it, was like the culture of film. Because he says, and I quote, "It's all about selling tickets. We see what's happening in Hollywood with Marvel and all that kind of stuff. There is room for it, and it's fun, but it takes away from getting cultural films made." Maybe you're right. "Which are best for the actors and are really good acting parts. It's getting more and more difficult to do that. If you're not on social media now, they might not even consider you for a movie because they want a fan base to come with that." So
That's
I guess
a good line. I like that one.
Yeah.
Is that how you have to? Oh, we can't hire you. You don't have enough following.
I mean, that there's no doubt in my mind that film is definitely a whole different animal these days with streaming and, theaters, pricing and all that stuff. I have no doubt of that.
Well, like I said, I want to know what he means by cultural films. Like, I want to ask him, what was the last cultural film like you're talking about? Because the cultural makes me think of like multicultural, like epics from, foreign films and shit like that.
That may be what he's talking about. Again, I took it more to mean, films, because basically if you make a film and it's not a horror movie or a comic book movie, I would call that a cultural film. Because it's like reflecting on the culture of whatever it's reflecting on. And it looks like even Variety had trouble because down here, they talk about they don't really know either what he calls quote-unquote cultural films, meaning they put it in quotation marks like they didn't really know what he was referring to it as either. I don't know. So here's what happened apparently. He was working on the set and he kind of did...
The Marvel classic Black Widow.
Yeah, that did so well.
Yeah, it's like I might even want. He acts like it's like I'd like to see the version he's talking about before they had to re-edit or reshoot everything.
I mean, I don't doubt any of his story.
It's hilarious.
They do that.
It's hilarious how he was like "fuck you," but then they're like, "You're still on contract, so you got to come."
Right. So, and again, you're talking about a guy who did his job. Again, this is an actor, not like a action star. I think that's the big difference. Ray Winstone is a very tenured actor.
Doesn't he also mention something about like the director-actor relationship and how that's not the same as it was either? Or maybe that's just when he's talking about casting. But it sounded like him and the director of Black Widow seemed to get along really good until...
So here's the quote that you're referring to. "I can't get my head around that because part of the chemistry of making a film or series is the chemistry between the director and the actor. I think it's something we are losing more and more in England, and I think that's very dangerous. We got to look back at people sitting in a room with a director, not just reading the part, but talking to one another. Some people are fucking terrible readers, but they can act, So, again, I think that you're going to have this kind of opinion from these tenured older actors. I don't think it's necessarily a situation where they're like jealous.
I wonder if he means like about like maybe other people coming in between that relationship, like telling the director,
marketing department or some shit.
Yeah, saying the director's saying this isn't good enough.
Yeah,
telling the director that you need to have him do this and do that. And it's like, well,
I mean, I'm all about if you're making a film,
let the
director fucking do it right. Yeah, that's crazy. But again, he might have a point. It's definitely the cinema is not will never be the way we knew it.
Well, they talk about like Jaws being the first like summer blockbuster, right?
Right. Which again, when you look back, is obvious, but at that time,
would you? I would say that's not quite a Marvel movie. I don't know.
Jaws.
Yeah, I don't know.
spectacle.
Spectacle, but it's got more meat to it than most Marvel, too, though.
I mean, it's because it's a Spielberg movie. Okay, I mean...
It's fucking Jaws.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If George Lucas would have made it, I think it would have been a totally different story with that. Because I think Spielberg's the one who really added that extra depth and that extra drama. That's my opinion.
You know, speaking of Spielberg and reshoots and stuff, it made me think of, like, how people keep re-editing movies. Like how the E.T., when they remade that one, they took the guns out of their hands and put fucking radios, walkie-talkies in their hands.
Yeah.
It's like, we're just gonna keep reshooting until we get it right.
It may have changed its form, but people always fuck with people's movies. It's been happening since movies were movies. It's kind of a too many cooks in the kitchen kind of situation, except that there should be, as Ray, and I agree with him, there should be a clear connection between that director and that actor.
Yeah, for sure.
And if there's not, then I don't think you're going to have a very successful project. So, but I think he also, coming from a side of a person who had a bad experience with the Marvel movie.
Well, it's also
I wonder what his opinion would have been if he would have been in Avengers, the one that went crazy and made everybody billions.
Well, if they had to reshoot it, he'd still be mad.
Yeah, I don't know. That's.
But like you're saying, you got to sell tickets.
Right.
So it's like even these Marvel movies aren't selling tickets. Like Superman didn't make as much as it should have.
Sure.
Because people aren't going to the movies.
And again, that's sad. I love film. But the days of seeing a trailer somewhere and being like, oh, I wonder how that film's going to be, those are gone.
Yeah, there's an ad for like that new Austin Butler movie. It was having a sneak preview this weekend. And I was like, man, I can't remember the last time I went to a sneak preview in a movie theater. Dude.
Yeah, they don't even call them sneak previews anymore. It opens Thursday.
Well, no, this one is. This one was like this weekend. It's
okay.
Sneak previews. I forget what
That's
it's called.
rare. Yeah, I haven't. It's
I
been
think it
a while.
had Zoe Kravitz in it too. I'm not sure. Some like thief movie or something.
Anyway, yeah, again, I think this is just growing pains from people that have been in the business longer. This is the way it is now. And, we don't have to like it, but it is the way it is. And I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. I don't think comic book films are ruining film culture. Obviously, I mistyped that headline. But are they ruining cultural films, or do cultural films need to catch up? I guess is my question. Because, yes, there is a lot more competition. There's a lot more there's a lot more rules you have to follow now when you're making a movie and all this shit. But, if you're sitting here telling me that you're mad because some asshole can't pick up a camera and make a 90-minute piece of shit and have it go to theaters and market it and all that stuff, you're not going to get my sympathy.
I mean, it feels to me like there's still plenty of cultural films.
I feel that way too.
I'm not watching them, but it seems like they're coming out.
No, I mean, I don't feel like there's a short on them, no. Do I feel that comic book films changed the landscape? 100%. 100%. They absolutely did. For better or for worse, they did. But, again, did they ruin anything?
I was watching something the other day, and it had the end with all the portals and people coming to save them, and then I was like, it's the Avengers again.
Yeah. I mean, that's what and again, the only time I
wish I could remember what I was watching that had, like, the exact same ending.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like the exact. I was like, I've seen this before.
I still stand by my point that
it's like the Star Wars too, when all the ships come in from everywhere. I
don't think you're ever going to get a more iconic scene in a film, and it wasn't because it was a Marvel film. It wasn't because it was a comic book film. It was because of the story. It was because of what they created. And too often you have these older filmmakers and actors, Martin Scorsese, I'm talking to you, who don't understand something and dog it, right? I don't think that's quite what Ray's doing here. I think he's trying to make a more general point.
I think Marty's just jelly.
Yes, I agree. Because that's the only time you ever hear this stuff is from people who have never had anything to do with a comic book movie, or people that have had comic book movies that have failed, like
He
Ryan
probably
Reynolds.
doesn't even read them, dude. He thinks reading them is for babies.
You know. Anyway, I would love to know what you think of this. Are comic book films ruining cultural films, and do you agree with Ray Winstone on his comments? Let us know in our comments down below. Make sure you like the video.
Or should Ray Winstone go hang out with bitchin' Batista and cry me a river?
Exactly. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one.